Hello everyone, it's Stephanie, your CSA coach, and I am back. I apologize for missing the last 2 weeks. We were on vacation out in California, so we're back and settled back in and grateful to have our CSA shares back. 2 quick announcements. Art on the Farm is today from 4 to 6 p.m. with Dakota, and please remember to bring your clippers to the farm for both herb cutting and for flower picking. Also, bingo is still happening, so make sure you refer to the emails and print out your bingo cards and make sure that you're reading through the different options there and checking off when you complete a bingo box. All right, jumping right into this week's share. So we have our salad mix. We have a ½ pound of our salad mix. It's stored just like this. I leave it right in this bag, put it in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. This is probably one of the first things you're gonna wanna use this week. It will last several days in the fridge. Do not wash it until you're ready to use it. And then once you're ready to use it, I like to rinse it off, soak it in the water, and then throw it in my salad spinner to get it nice and dry. And then we just use it for salads, whether it's just a spring mix with a simple dressing or a more ornate salad with we have cucumbers, we have onions, we have beets, we have tomatoes this week, so lots of things you can add to it. Or it can just be a simple side. So that's our salad mix. We have fresh garlic. So this garlic is a little bit different. It's not cured. So it's the full head of garlic, and you use the garlic cloves just like you would a regular cured garlic. But the actual membranes can be used also. So they're nice and moist and you can use them as well. This gets stored because it's not cured in the fridge. So do not store this in a cool, dry place like you normally would garlic. Garlic is one of my favorite things to add to basically any recipe. We can do dressings with it. You can add it to your greens. You can roast it. You can use it on top of, like in a marinade, on top of your proteins for dinner. Lots and lots of options for garlic. But this goes in the fridge until you're ready to use it. We have beets this week. Our beets do not have the tops, so we don't need to worry about removing the tops. These are golden beets. Stored in the fridge in your crisper drawer or in a plastic bag until you're ready to use them. These will last weeks. I plan on doing a big batch of pickled beets for topping salads. My parents love pickled beets, so I'll bring them up to their house and share with them as well. You can roast beets, you can eat them raw, you can shred them and top them on salad. There's a couple recipes on the blog. I know there's pickled beets 2 ways. There's also a beet salad. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but if you type in beets in the blog, there's a bunch of different recipes that'll come up. So we've been getting beets for a couple different weeks. So if you want to try something new, then go ahead and refer to the blog or just Google different recipes for beets. So store it in the fridge until you're ready to use them. You can boil them, you can roast them, you can eat them raw. We have cucumbers. 1 cucumber stored in the fridge in your crisper drawer. We tend to just slice these up and eat them raw as a snack. Sometimes we'll add them to salad. There's quick fridge pickles on the blog. There's a cucumber salad on the blog. Rarely do we ever make a recipe with cucumbers just because they're so fresh and easy and a quick snack for my boys. So I just wash it up. I actually leave the skin on and slice them and put them on the table, and they're gone before I know it. But stored in the fridge until you're ready to use it. We have tomatillos. Tomatillos are in a husk. So you're gonna leave that husk on. Do not remove that until you're ready to use them. And these are best stored right on the counter. I like grilling tomatillos. They make a wonderful salsa or just green sauces to top different dishes with. There's a bunch of recipes on the blog for them. They will last. So store them on your countertop, keep the husks on, do not wash them until you're ready to use them. Once you're ready to use them, you peel the husks off, wash them good, and either grill or roast them. They're typically cooked before they're eaten, and they make great sauces and salsas. We have summer squash. We've been getting summer squash for a while now. I think over the next few weeks there will be a recipe showcasing these. I'm gonna start working on that recipe this week, hopefully. But there are lots of recipes on the blog. You can simply slice these up and grill them. You can roast them. You can eat them raw. They were showcased in the whipped regatta recipe as a grilled side. There's so many recipes, I just can't think of the exact names. I know I have like a pickled recipe, ribbons, summer squash ribbons maybe is what they're called. There's a couple grilled recipes using them. So just take a look at the blog, type in summer squash, zucchini, and see what comes up for different recipes if you're looking for something else. They're also great to use as a noodle substitute, so you can spiralize them, just quickly wash them, spiralize them, and then do a quick blanch, and they're a great vessel to put your different sauces on. You can even do like a pesto if you still have basil left over from previous weeks, or you made a big batch of pesto and you have it frozen. These would pair really well with your pestos. So that's summer squash. Those are stored in the fridge in your crisper drawer until you're ready to use them. We have torpedo onions this week. The entire onion can be used, so you don't need to toss out the top. The top is like a big, huge scallion, and then the bottom is your bulb. These are stored in the fridge in a plastic bag, or in your crisper drawer until you're ready to use them. They are not cured, so we don't want to store them like we do regular onions. These will likely be showcased in this week's recipe, but they're just a fun addition to simply quickly slicing, throwing on salads, adding to your pickled beets. What else you could do? We have potatoes this week. You could saute the potatoes in them. You can make hash browns, salsas. So we have the tomatillos. We also have a few of our tomatoes starting this week, so they can all be used in that as well. So torpedo onions stored in the fridge. We have new potatoes. New potatoes are, they can be stored in the fridge. I tend to store them just like regular potatoes. They last, but these are one of our favorite potatoes to use. I love just roasting them. So we get all different sizes. Like I have a tiny one, and then I have like a larger one. It's best when you're gonna roast them to slice them down so that they evenly, so I might keep this as my size. Actually, I have a smaller one. So this would be the size that I would make all my other cubes about, and then roast them in the oven, or even grill them. We have grill packets on the blog as a recipe. There's, again, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a recipe with potatoes and summer squash that makes like you slice them up nice and thin on the mandolin and then put them in. That's a wonderful recipe. So if you have not navigated that blog yet, there's so many great recipes that are used for things that we get throughout the season. So if you get stuck, if you have something you love that you always use things for, great. If you get stuck, refer to that blog. It's a great place to look for new recipes and new ideas to use. So typically you can store these in the fridge, or you can store them in a cool, dry place. I just store them in a cool, dry place. They last really well. And you can roast them, you can grill them, you can boil them and make potato salad. If you still have dill left over, dill pairs really well with these potatoes. Parsley pairs really well. If you're navigating the herb garden, thyme also works. You can do lots and lots of different herbs on top of our new potatoes. You can also do those butter cubes if you made or butter coins. One of the recipes, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was butter coins. Those go really well on top of our potatoes. We have a couple more things this week. We have our first tomatoes. Tomatoes are best stored on the counter at room temperature. Do not wash them until you're ready to use them, and then you can simply slice these, use them on top of sandwiches, on top of burgers, just sliced with a little bit of sea salt or a little bit of olive oil. Lots of ways to use these. I generally like to eat them raw, uncooked, but you can certainly make them into sauce. These will likely be showcased in this week's recipe, so stay tuned for that, along with our onions and our garlic. We have eggplant. Eggplant was not on our email yesterday, so it was a surprise addition today. This is best stored in the fridge. You can wrap it in like a paper towel or a cloth to keep the moisture away from the eggplant, but it definitely needs to be refrigerated. Eggplant can be grilled, it can be roasted. I believe there's an eggplant dip on the blog. I love eggplant parm, so I often will take the eggplant, even if I'm not ready to turn it into eggplant parm this week, but create the breaded and fried, or I typically air fry them, coins, and then I throw them in the freezer, accumulate a bunch, and then make a big batch of eggplant parm when we're ready to eat that. So that's my favorite way to use eggplant. You can also just slice it and grill it. So options there. We have cilantro. Cilantro pairs really well with our tomatillos, with our onion, with our tomato. It's great for any Mexican inspired dish, so salsas, sauces. You could do like a cilantro lime rice. So just simply make your rice and then add a little chopped up cilantro and a little lime to that rice, and it makes a quick and easy side dish. This gets stored in the fridge in a jar of water. So this was a smaller head or smaller bunch, so I just used a smaller jar so that my kids don't dump it over in the refrigerator. But this gets stored in the fridge. You can also freeze it, so you can take leaves and throw it in between paper towels in a Ziploc bag and then throw it in the freezer, and it will freeze really well. And you can also dehydrate it. So if you're trying to save it, if you have a lot, and you know you're not going to use it, then think about how you can preserve it throughout the season. We have a beautiful head of dandelion greens. So these are the only greens we got this week. They are huge. There's an amazing recipe on the blog, maple bacon dandelion greens, I think is what it's called. I plan on making that tomorrow, so I'll showcase that recipe this week for you guys and bring that back, but that's on the blog if anyone's anxious to make that tonight. Dandelion greens are really, really healthy. They're full of amazing nutrients. You can simply blanch them, turn them into green cubes. You can saute them, which is what I usually do, and create a side dish. You can eat them raw. So they can just be tossed into a salad, usually with like a little olive oil and a little lemon juice. Keep it super simple. Maybe salt and pepper, and that's it. So these are our dandelion greens. They are stored in the fridge, and this is obviously going to require a larger bag because it's a big, huge head of dandelion. So I'll put these in a Debbie Meyer green bag in the fridge. But these will likely for us get used tomorrow night, and I'll be sure to post that recipe for you guys. Last but not least, we got to pick herbs, and we got to pick flowers, and we got to pick beans. So you either got the option of picking a quart of string beans or a quart of Romano beans. Either the string beans or the Romano beans get stored in the fridge. I have them in a plastic container like this, and that's how I plan on throwing them right in the fridge. But these are actually going to get used tonight and will likely be showcased in this week's recipe. So I picked all Romano. You can pick some string, some Romano, mix and match. You can do all string or all Romano, but a quart total of these beans. Don't wash them until you're ready to use them. Once you're ready to use them, you're gonna clean them up, chop off the top and the bottom, just clean them. And then you can either leave them whole, and this goes for string beans as well, steam them, blanch them, or you can saute them, or baste them in like a liquid. You can throw them into stir fries. You can actually grill them also. But these are great for like a warm side dish or also a cold dish. So you can do a quick blanch, cook them for like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on their texture. Pull them out, put them in a cold ice bath, and then just chop them up for a salad as well. So those are our beans. That's it for this week. I will see you guys again next Tuesday. If you have any questions, make sure you post on our Facebook group, and make sure you tag me so that I see the post and can help answer or guide. I will see you all again next Tuesday.